So it's been about a week since NAB 2025, the place for all the latest and greatest in film and broadcast tech. And there was a lot of amazing things announced at the show, like the Blackmagic Pixis 12K and an emphasis on how AI is going to affect the industry moving forward. And I was lucky enough to attend the show this year, so I want to share my top 5 what I consider underrated pieces of gear and tech for content creators like yourself. Starting at number 5 is the PDmovie Live Air 4 Smart, and it's a LiDAR autofocus system, kind of like DJI's offering, but they handle things a little bit differently. I actually have I guess now the older version, the Live Air Smart 3. I absolutely love this thing. I use it all the time with all my manual lenses, and the biggest thing is once you learn how to mount it, so the sensor actually focuses on the thing that you want it to focus on, this thing is fantastic. I've never used DJI's offering, so I can't really compare, but I literally have had almost no complaints about this. And to hear that they're improving on this with the Live Air 4 is just awesome. And the main upgrade with the Live Air 4 is that there are now 2 LiDAR sensors on the motor itself, which adds to even more precision when focusing and even adds longer range when scanning. Another improvement is that the motor and the focus wheel can now be charged by USB-C, where both of these used micro USB. Well, actually, the focus wheel used micro USB, and then the motor, you had to take the batteries out and then charge them on a dedicated charger that came with it. So now that both can just be charged with USB-C makes things a lot more convenient. And speaking of the focus wheel, they've actually included a LiDAR sensor on the new generation focus wheel. So you can use that to also help with autofocus. And the way they explain it is that you can either choose to use the motor's LiDAR, depending on how it's mounted on the camera, or you can mount this somewhere else and use the sensor from that to autofocus, and that information is going to be transferred wirelessly back to the motor. So say your camera's like back here somewhere, but for whatever reason, it can't get the right focus from where it's at, you can then mount the wheel kind of closer to the subject, and it's going to go based off of that sensor and what it reads, and then send it back to the motor. That's crazy. And on top of that, there's a hybrid mode that uses both sensors from the motor and the focus wheel and figures out, I guess, based on the scenario, which one to go off of, and then it uses that to then focus on your subject. As of now, they're saying it's probably going to come out maybe later in the year, but when it does, I definitely think if it works the way they say it's going to work, this could be really interesting in the indie filmmaker content creator market and all the possibilities that opens to help improve autofocus with manual cinema lenses. Number 4, I saw some products from ProGrade, which aren't technically new. They said they've been out for a little bit, not too long, but I had no idea they were out, and I'm glad I ran into them at the show, or else, I probably wouldn't have looked them up. And if you're not familiar with them, they're a company that make different types of card readers, SD, Type B, and Type A card readers. They make SSDs as well. I actually have their Duo SD and CF Express Type B card reader. I use this all the time, especially on location. And that's why I was really excited to see that they actually have a dedicated CF Express Type B card reader. It's a single card reader, so it's only going to do the Type B cards, but it's USB 4. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that is a big deal because I'm all about increasing that speed, especially when you're on set, you're on location, you're filming a bunch of stuff, and you got to dump a lot of footage. The faster you can dump that footage, especially if you have to do it on site, the better. So it's actually really awesome to know that they have a USB 4 CF Express Type B card reader. I also saw that they have their own external SSD that's also USB 4, and it has a maximum read and write speed of 25 megabytes a second. But what I love that they include is they included the sustained speed of 1500 megabytes a second. And that's a big deal because those speeds that are being promoted by these companies, those write speeds, they actually dip off over time, the larger and the longer that you're transferring for. And the fact that ProGrade has offered that, and that yes, it can get up to 2500 megabytes a second of transfer speeds, but you're going to get a sustained speed of 1500 megabytes a second no matter what. I feel like more companies need to do that. The SSD also has that same magnetic base that the card readers have, which I think is a nice function, but I don't really take advantage of it too much. But it also does come with this high quality rugged carrying case, which I'm a fan of. I always appreciate when companies provide some really cool packaging or cases that go with their products. And now actually going back to the whole like magnetic base and how I don't really use it, they have a USB 4 hub that at the top of it is also magnetic. And the way the hub's designed, it can fit 2 of these square-shaped card readers. So you can have your Type B card, you can have the SD card version on there, all plugged in at the same time, up on top mounted. And then also have the SSD plugged in as well. So they made it really nice in how you can kind of combine all of their products into one. And like I said, these aren't new releases. They've been out for a little bit. I had no idea. I haven't really heard anyone talking about them. So definitely something worth looking into. Now at number 3, I have SanDisk and a couple of their products. Well, one's a product, the other is kind of a series of re-releases of products they already have. And what I mean by that is SanDisk has re-released some of their products under what they're calling their creator series, which are easily recognizable because they all now have this cool blue color. So you know if you see that it's part of this creator series. And they've sectioned them off kind of neatly in these 4 categories. First, it's the capture category, which are their SD cards, the regular and micro SD cards, their flash drives to record on phones, and then their transfer and edit categories where you would send all those files that you captured on the flash drive or the SD cards onto what we know as their SanDisk Extreme SSD, but they've relabeled it to their SanDisk Creator Pro SSD, which I think is a really smart approach to this, right? Because it makes it fun, it makes it approachable, and it's not new. They've released the SanDisk Extremes in other colors before, which gave me the sense that they're really marketing this to a broader content creator audience. And then lastly is their backup category, which again takes a product that they've already had, but they've relabeled it the SanDisk Creator Desk Drive. And this drive is dedicated to just backing up all the footage, everything that you've edited off of your SSD to keep it and archive it. And I love that take because I believe it's so important to let more people know, let more content creators know that you should be backing up everything that you're doing, not just to your main hard drive that you're editing off of, but to have that archival footage because you never know when you're going to need something. You never know when a hard drive is going to fail, and you at least know you have that backup somewhere. So I love this creator approach because I feel like they're educating at the same time, and they're hitting you with, you know, this is a part of the package because bam, it's got that light blue color on it. And that's not all SanDisk announced. They finally thankfully listened, and they're now offering their SanDisk Extreme Pro in USB 4. And this is a big deal because I love using those drives, but I've had to steer away from them because they did not support USB 4, Thunderbolt 4. And even though they are USB 3.2 Gen 2, on Macs, they cap out at that 1,000 megabytes a second of transfer and write speeds, where now I'm at a point where I need drives that offer faster speeds. And thankfully now I have that. So you definitely believe I'm gonna be picking one of those up. And next up, it's Smallrig and their new announcement. And no, it's not their new rugged V-mount battery, although that is cool. But I think something that kind of got a little, pushed to the side because of that announcement is their new RC100C LED. Now, this is a new release based off of their 100-watt light that's already out, the RC100B, which I'm actually using to light myself in this video. And it's a nice, small, compact light. It can be powered over USB-C. You can use a V-mount battery. There's a whole bunch of different options, and just how compact it is and the form factor, I've been loving this light. I've been using it on the go when I do interviews, or if I'm just shooting YouTube videos, either in my studio or if I'm somewhere else, like in a hotel room, like I was for NAB. And the 100C keeps that same form factor, but it now comes in a dope white color, and with 100C, C meaning color, it now has full RGB. So if you want to get a little bit more creative in there, splash some color onto your scenes, now you can do that in that same small form factor. I also have their 220 watt as well, which I think is a great light. But even with that, it's a little bit bigger. So I've been contemplating getting another 100B, but with this release, I might actually go for the 100C now. So I have that option. If I do want to splash some color to a situation, I can. So yeah, if you haven't heard about these lights, definitely check them out. I believe the 100C is not out yet, but it should be coming out pretty soon, either this summer or later this year. And last but not least, at number 1, I have the Sirui Vision Prime T1.4 cinema lenses. And the reason why these are a big deal for me is because my first introduction into Sirui was getting their Nightwalker series lenses, and I had the 16mm, 24 and 50, and I absolutely love them for their size, their weight, and for their image quality. Like, they don't offer a lot of character, but they do offer a very clean image, which I can manipulate later in post. And I mean, these lenses are go for like $300, and I would even put them up against some lenses I was using before that were higher tier, the Irix lenses, and because those are really well known for just giving you a nice clean image that you can kind of manipulate afterwards. But for half the price, if maybe even a little bit more, the Nightwalker lenses give me the same result. And this is why I was excited about the Vision Primes, because I feel like this is their full frame offering, similar to the Nightwalker series. And they didn't disappoint. They were super clean. The lenses are still super light, even though being a little bit bigger than their Nightwalker counterparts. But what's so cool is you can swap out the mounts on these. So I believe they're sold as E-mount, but they come with the parts to then swap out to other mounts for other cameras. The people were actually nice enough to let me swap them out and put them on my Lumix S9, which is an L-mount camera. So when I turned the camera around on me, I was using the 24mm lens. It just looked nice. It looked crisp. It looked clean, just from what I expected from my Nightwalker lenses. So I think this is going to be a great addition for full frame cameras. And that's it. Those are my top 5 underrated finds of NAB 2025. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what are some things from NAB that you saw or read about that you're really excited about. Drop it in the comments below. Love to hear from you guys. Until next time, catch y'all later.